Greetings everyone, Napoleon Complex here. I go by Ludendorf on the Ludendorf forums. So today I am going to be facing a classical division match of the Slytherin tournament, and I am playing against SnuggleBunnies. So SnuggleBunnies has also started to record tournament footage. I highly recommend that you check out his channel, which I will, if he, with his permission, link in the description. And this is going to be an interesting one. SnuggleBunnies has definitely got the better of me in the past. I think he's quite a conservative player in that he's often quite defensive, but he's certainly capable of taking the offensive when he wants to. And we'll see what he's capable of today. Having a look at the army, so if you look at what I've brought already, I've gone over the Hannibal and Africa list for quite a bit in my previous videos, so I think the focus today when looking at the enemy options will be more what his army can do against my list and what my list can do, what my choice of army hopes to do against his. So if we look here, he has some elephants, which will actually be quite dangerous for my cavalry. And I do need to be kind of careful how I approach with my noble cavalry. That's why I brought a bulk of fairly cheap noble cavalry, rather than trying to bring my very expensive noble cavalry who could be locked down. Beyond that, it's a fairly... Well, the thing is, with the army I brought, he could actually have better cavalry than mine. But I'm hoping that if he tries to do that, the fact that his army is quite expensive overall will mean that he won't be able to bring enough infantry to prevent my infantry from locking down any cavalry he has of that type. Because I tend to find in Field of Glory you need to build a longer infantry line first. Either that or be very quick at getting your cavalry around behind your opponent. Otherwise, even though you have more cavalry, the enemy can just lock you down with the infantry. And I'm hoping that that will be the situation today, because although his cavalry wing would normally be quite weak, I haven't brought my full cavalry contingent, and I haven't brought any elephants, mainly because the ground doesn't really dictate a favourable engagement there. I could try and deploy them in the centre, but it's never been my style to deploy elephants in a central battle. I tend to find them a bit too unpredictable and a little bit too... unless they manage to win an impact, which they do have a high chance of doing, and unless they manage to disrupt an impact, I tend not to find them to be a very cost-effective pick. So I tend to deploy them with the cavalry, and seeing as the rough ground makes that a bit of a losing proposition at the moment, I'm inclined to not bring my elephants along to this battle. So our noble cavalry will have to make do. Light javelin horse, so this is interesting. We'll look at the skirmishers next. He can't bring many light javelin horse, but he can bring enough to get flanking actions against my skirmishers. And if we look at his skirmisher army, this is new in Field of Glory. The Velites now have swordsman capability at 50%. Now that means that they will murder my foot skirmishers in melee. And so I really can't bring my usual screen of light javelin and expect that to end well. So what I've done instead is I brought a whole load of light javelin horse. And of course the javelin I'm mandated to take. And the hope is that rather than relying on missiles or on holding them in engagements and flanking, which is my usual modus operandi with the skirmishers, I will rely on charge tactics. I will use my light javelin horse to, and first of all, use their speed to encircle enemy skirmishers, drive them towards the centre, and then hopefully hit them with powerful charges, hopefully flanking charges, and destroy them that way. Because I cannot stand up to these swordsmen in a stand-up fight. Same goes with the Uzoni. Don't know why they're more expensive. Oh, because they're protected. So these guys are basically proper light infantry. They're proper fighting light infantry. They're not just skirmishers thrown out before the battle and expect to withdraw. These guys can actually fight. If he's unlucky, I might manage to pin these in melee, as they're sometimes a little bit reluctant to go back once they're melee capable. But we'll see what happens there. Moving on to his infantry. He has quite a lot of cost-effective mediums, but he's not got as many as mine, and I don't think he'll bring as many as I have. And though, come to think of it, have I even brought my full complement? I have not brought my irregular foot. And I've actually brought quite an elite army this time. I've brought both units of veteran African spearmen, and I've brought both units of my veteran 10-foot. What I'm hoping to do is, if he's got mediums fortifying these woods, I'm hoping to break through here and expose his flanks, assuming I can't entice him into a fight in the centre. So my army is quite expensive, and as a result it may be a little bit smaller than usual. I've not brought my extra African spearmen, and not brought either of the warband armies. But the raw legionaries will be quite a cost-effective matchup against my Phoenician-style foot, although he's not really got a lot of them to fall back on, because they are impact foot, even though they're raw quality. So if they can manage to win, the initial melee against my Phoenician-style foot, then he'll possibly gain a few disruptions, gain an advantage, or at least cause some casualties. Because they're raw troops, I don't think they'll hold up against my Phoenician foot in prolonged melee, and they certainly won't be able to do anything against my more powerful troops like the veteran African spearmen, or even, I think, the triarii. So actually, the raw legionaries might not be the best pick for him this day. What could he bring instead? He could try and bring triarii. So these units will certainly be able to hold their own against my only average Phoenician stuff, but the problem they've got is that there's only 240 of them. So although they are very superior, they are well armoured, and they'll gain a POA advantage in the start of the fight. They'll quickly get ground down, and once their number starts to deplete, they become progressively less effective until they can just be knocked off the field, essentially. A genuine counter to my weak centre Phoenician style foot would be the triarii. Now if he goes weak centre as well and deploys a line of triarii here, if you look, I've got 5 units here forming my central ranks. If he can bring the triarii into contact, he's got 6 actually, in a long line like this, he could actually start to break through, maybe have a few reserves to tie up my reserve units here, who I may need to use to expand the line. We'll see what happens, so they may not even be there. But the reason these units are here is in case these units get pushed back, they can then get flank attacks in them, or at least get a 2-to-1 advantage, while my veteran African spearmen are anchors that hold the line in place, maybe even push it back a little, allowing these units to come into the action. But if he can use his triarii to push them back in the centre and use their offensive spearmen aspects to break these units quickly, then he could gain a massive advantage in the centre by breaking through. Of course, even better than that would be the Thorakitai, who are that and they're armoured. I don't think the armour bonus will do much good from here, as I'm not really deploying many missiles, but the extra POA from the armoured status will certainly help him if his intention is to break through in the centre, and it might even help him hold out a little bit against the veteran African spearmen. That said, I don't think he's going to want to deploy his mediums in the centre. I think he's more likely to deploy them on the flanks, and the triarii, and in the woods as well. The triarii won't be able to stand up to my veteran time, but again they might be, and the Spanish triarii, although they will lose badly against them in a prolonged melee, do gain quite a nasty impact bonus against offensive spearmen in impact. And so because I've got quite a lot of triarii, he could bring a lot of triarii. If he tries to go down that road, I will probably get a disruption somewhere, and that might allow me to quickly break through and get flank attacks before the offensive spearman's capabilities can truly kick in. Add to the fact that my troops are maybe supported by cavalry, but again, we don't know how the cavalry battle is going to unfold. But deploying massed triarii against massed triarii is quite a risky proposition in my opinion. That's simply because impact foot tends, although they'll win less often, they will tend to win first, and thus they tend to unlock flank attacks more often. And flank attacks are, of course, the only guaranteed way of gaining disruptions and fragmentations, which is why they tend to be more flank attack based armies. I think tend to be a bit more effective than armies that try to break through using quality and formation. Although it depends. I actually think that if you have an elite army and you can arrange it efficiently, then it can absolutely beat a quantity based army. There are several formations which you can use to deal with that. Now moving on to his elite troops, this is where things get interesting. He's got these Hastati Principes and these veteran Hastati Principes. Now you have to pay a lot, so you'd have to take a smaller army, but for what you get, they are brilliant troops. So these veteran Hastati Principes are superior and armoured. That means that they are the equivalent of a veteran African spearmen, though, well, they will be at a slight disadvantage in prolonged melee. But of course, to get the impact bonus as well, they might not actually be quite as good as my veteran African spearmen, I think. Because, again, they will win on impact, but in prolonged combat, I think my veteran my African spearmen will have the advantage over them. But certainly they'll smash through anything else, and this might be a unit he wants to bring in small numbers to spearhead a charge through the centre again. Ideally straight through the centre, so he's got a bit of protection against my waiting flanking forces. And the Hastati Principes, again, you've got above average, there's some armour, so these are essentially superior quality troops that you get for the cost of an above average unit. They are impact foot as well, so they have an advantage when first entering melee. These are excellent troops, and honestly, if he was going to max out any of these units, I would bring a line of these Hastati Principes. They are still quite expensive, but for what you get from them, I mean, these units can pretty much dismiss my Phoenician style foot. They can defeat my Spanish triarii, though they won't be able to fight them on the rough ground. And they can even probably hold their own for a while against the veteran African spearmen. So I think the veteran Hastati Principes are maybe a little bit expensive, the Hastati Principes, the ordinary Hastati Principes, are an excellent choice to bring. And finally, we've got the Pike Phalanx. Again, if you wanted to bring a single unit of the veteran Hastati Principes, you might want to have these units maybe holding down my veteran African spearmen. So the Pike Phalanx is expensive, and the thing is, if he tries to bring too many of these, he's going to shrink the size of his army, and he can't afford to do that. Sorry, that was me slamming my desk with my elbow accidentally. He really can't afford to do that too much, because I think even with this forest here, I will be able to get around the side of this army if he brings too much expensive stuff. And I honestly think the Pike Phalanx isn't quite as effective as these veteran Hastati Principes. There's a little bit too much that can go wrong with them. If they take too many casualties in the fight, they start to lose their POA advantage. They can lose an impact, so I've got quite a few impact units in my army, and if they lose an impact, they can get disrupted. They're expensive, so they can be outnumbered, and they have a tendency to drive through the line. Now, I've kind of sold that as a selling point, but remember that if units are driven back, then the units waiting behind can then get flank attacks on them, and it can also destabilize the line. So I think there are a few problems with Pike style armies, and it's a reason I tend not to bring the unit too often. They're expensive, and there's just too much that can go wrong. So that's a look at SnuggleBunnies' army. So once again, my basic strategy is going to be to try and break through in the woods and also at the rough ground, and I will try to use my light javelin horse to either harass the enemy cavalry and mediums waiting on the rough ground, or alternatively I may swoop into the centre and try to break any skirmishers who are trying to harass my forces moving up. And of course, if he's deployed flankwards with his own skirmishers, then I can use this to my advantage as well. Not so much in the woods, that's why I've brought a smaller force of skirmishers here. And I think what I'll actually do here is swap my armies around, my troops around here. so that I've got more foot skirmishers over here, such as they are, and I've got a larger body of cavalry on the flanks, because in a missile exchange my light javelin horse will not be too good at throwing javelins into woods, where the enemy skirmishers will have cover and they will not. This is again a weak center approach, and I'm really just using this to elongate my line so that the flanks can do their jobs. If the enemies start to break through here, and they start to push these units back, I've got one more chance. I've got these Italian foot waiting in the wings. The veteran African spearmen should be able to anchor the line long enough for these units to come to the rescue of my Phoenician stealth foot, either by getting a 2-on-1 advantage if the enemy are weak enough, or by actually waiting for the Phoenician stealth foot to get pushed all the way back to here so that they can get flanking attacks. And the same goes for my African spearmen here. They're waiting to get a flank. Also, if my veteran African spearmen do manage to make a breakthrough and push back the enemy back, then my Italian foot can of course follow up and start to get a flank attack. And both of those things could happen. I could get a push up here, I could get pushed back here, and then my Italian foot can get a flank attack even more quickly against the opponent. Right, let's quickly drop a battle line. I guess I'll attach some triarii here. These cavalry are actually numerous enough to operate on their own, so I'm a little bit reluctant to do this, as if they swing out far enough it'll leave my triarii or my cavalry out of command distance, but I think I have to do that to efficiently use my command space. Because I generally want 5 on a sub-general and 7 on my commander-in-chief. Let's see. This is probably about where I want my next sub-general. So I guess he will also command the veteran African spearman. My commander-in-chief has slightly longer command reach, so he's quite good at commanding these long, empty stretches of units. I will deploy him, yeah, just with my units here. And finally, my last commander will command the strike force against the woods. So that's 5, 7, only 3 here, something's gone wrong. Oh yeah, these units are supposed to be part of this unit, and then my cavalry and flanking forces here. And let's begin. Okay, elephant in the center. Might want to adjust the position. Right. Oh wow. He's deployed right back. He's deployed right back, and he's concentrated his cavalry, such as they are, on this side. Let's see. Less skirmishers than I was expecting. So these will try and disrupt any attack on my center. So if I try and move up, then the fact that these guys are here may cause me to charge a unit that I didn't want to charge. It'll interfere with my movements. So he's entrenched. Thankfully, well, he's brought heavy artillery just as well. I didn't bring any elephants then. Well, if that's the case, and I'm already regretting attaching my infantry here. What I will need to do is I think I should open this up by doing some reconnaissance. I want to see what's around here first. But there's that rough ground. No, we definitely don't want to take the cavalry around there. Curses. Shouldn't have deployed in that flank. I didn't anticipate him deploying all the way back here. And he obviously intends to hold his position. Right. Nothing wrong with that. I'll just have to transfer my noble cavalry across, and seeing as they have larger numbers, I'll transfer my general next turn. So we're going to start with the flank transfer. I can still send my light horse around, I think. And I'm going to quickly scout out this forest. And I think I'll do the same with this forest over here. But unfortunately, the rest of my army is going to have to sit tight because I'm going to be moving these troops for a while. Next turn. So, right, that's a mixed formation of triarii and... Well, the triarii will be quite vulnerable to skirmishers. He's gathering skirmishers here to block my light javelin horse, which is smart. And also because he's got the forest, I can't necessarily see his movements very well. Well, let's ride up to the forest's edge anyway. There's nothing there yet. So, what about here? Alright. Ride all the way around to here. Do I see anything new appearing? Okay, that's good to know. He had more forces here. If I'd just thrown my cavalry into this, it would have ended badly. Right. So he has a unit of triarii and 4 units of armoured cavalry. So my cavalry are going to need the help of my veteran Italian spearmen. Just continue to move. Hold on, I'll clear that up. Yeah, we're going to need the help of our noble cavalry here. Of the veteran Italian spearmen, because we're going to need the numbers. Yeah, just continue with the flank transfer for now. This will probably take a few turns, and I might skip some of them out, as this is basically a siege at this point. Don't want to get too far ahead of my light javelin horses, they might not come back. Let's see. What about his line itself? Right, obviously broaden the line because we are going to be moving forward into a fight. That wasn't very inspired. We were going to be trying to get around this line. I want my line to be as long as possible, with obviously some reserves just in case he breaks through. Next turn. Something moved in those woods. Well, the other thing I've got to worry about is the time limits, because we definitely want to have a battle today. So I'm going to start pushing forward. That was not my intent. You know, I'm really not sure I like this strategy. I'm actually going to turn around and take my cavalry the long way. This is all over the place. I'm also aware that I need to get moving. because if I want there to even be a battle today, I need to get a move on. Right, above all, we don't want to get driven off the map. I think the time for reconnaissance is now officially over. Alright, well that'll slow down the advance a little bit anyway. Next turn. Okay, we'll commit to this rightward move. Even if it means taking forever to actually get their troops into position. Don't know why I did that. Keep my infantry ahead because I need to do some reconnaissance in that forest. But I mustn't let my cavalry get into charge range of the forest, otherwise they'll be knocked off the field. I need to get around the backs of these units. Next turn. Curious, what's he planning here? That's a Well, we'll advance for now. Rough ground's delaying my cavalry here. What are you up to, SnuggleBunnies? Alright, let's think about what he's up trying to do here. The forest is going to get him away if he's going to try and avoid me like that, but he'll move away from the protection of the ridge. You know what, I'm just going to show for now that I'm prepared to shadow him on that. Try and discourage that movement, lock down his options. Because there is no escape. Don't want to get too close to that forest just yet. And yeah, our light cavalry can hang out here, though, until it becomes clear what he's doing here. And if necessary, we can go around here. It's going to be a bit of a trek, but we will get around there as long as we can avoid getting knocked off the field. And if he does move out, then we can charge through the gap. I'm not too worried about the heavy artillery. If we had elephants, they'd be dangerous, but as it is, they'll probably cause some damage by shooting at us, but not enough to get any serious disruptions or anything like that. Next turn. Yep, he's definitely on the move. What's this about? You're in a strong defensive position. Why leave it? And also, why change the game plan now? Right, you lot go and check out that forest, make sure we're not running into a trap here. Okay then. Well, I'm sure we're not going to let them just do it unopposed. The forest is going to get in my way. What am I going to do about that? What am I going to do about that? Because I can't let the forest divide my army. This does actually give me some ideas. They're going to get in the way whatever I do, aren't they? Well, if it slows us down a little bit, that's not the end of the world. Though his plan is to disrupt my formation, that's pretty clever. Easy there. Okay, what's in the woods? Knew it. So if anything comes out to ambush my cavalry, I'll at least have a response in mind. So it looks like there's going to be a bit of a brawl in the woods next turn. Is he making for the corners? I might have to hurry this along. I'll take the artillery, but I doubt he cares about that. Yep, that's predictable. Send some cavalry off to help. I wish I hadn't ended up exactly there. Where's my other cavalry? God, they're way back there. Hurry up! Right, we need to get a move on. At least I can force the skirmishers out to fight. Nope, it'll have to be a standard move. And that will slow us down, unfortunately. So I want to try and catch his army before he can get fully entrenched in the corner there. Because I think he's heading for the corner of the map, and that's why I'm throwing my noble cavalry out to try and prevent him from having his easy even escape. I suppose you could say it's slightly evil. Let's see, keep going. Now he could be trying to camp, or he could be trying to swing around and focus his flank on my left. So I do need to show some caution. But that's all the more reason why I need to try and disrupt this as soon as possible. Okay, next turn. Interesting. Yeah, he's peeling around to face my left flank. Well, that's my call to advance aggressively on the right. Interesting. He might be planning to use the cavalry to block off my infantry in the forest. I may have seen that very defensive formation and underestimated him a little bit here. Got to say, those odds are pretty poor. Right, let's take a look at what we're up against. A unit of Astati, a unit of triarii. Well, the Astati will murder my Phoenician-style foot. Veteran Italian foot versus triarii. Well, we can win that, I think. Those offensive spearmen will be quite a threat. Veteran Astati. Honestly, the only advantage I have here is against his Royal Legionaries and maybe his triarii. Well, the whole point of my army is that I outnumber him. So I should probably look to use that to my advantage. Just creep around the flank. I said creep around the flank. So he's drawn up to face. Well, he's quite exposed on this flank. I should push here. But my lack of maneuverability has somewhat hindered my forces' advance. Hello. Are we doing this again? Well, we're going to have to straighten up anyway, so may as well take this approach. Well, they'll just block that off. Unless... I think I've got him. That was lucky. But to be fair, not an entirely unrealistic chance. I did have a 15% chance of it happening. That isn't going to work, is it? So, well, it might actually, because he'd have to turn... I have my doubts. In fact, this unit might actually be in a little bit of trouble now. And make sure the rest of my line hangs back a little bit, but put them on the diagonal. I'd like to use my cavalry to get in his way if at all possible. Okay, how about that 35% chance? We passed it. Can you lot please hurry up? It's getting urgent now. Alright. What was I doing with these guys? Next turn. Wait a second, I completely forgot about my cavalry. They should start heading around the flanks. I expect that will lead to them getting hit by his light infantry, but at least it'll give his light infantry something to work on. That isn't my more valuable unit. Not that these guys aren't valuable. I'll leave one to keep them occupied. Right, now it's next turn. Yep, here comes the aforementioned resistance. That was stupid, what was I thinking? Hopefully I can get the win against these Velites. Lucky hit. So the elephant can move to here or here. Need to try and stop those raw legionaries in their tracks. We've got this situation over here. Okay, well, let's resolve this first of all. Ah, come on. Mind you, I was lucky to disrupt them in the first place. And of course my troops will break immediately. Well, they fragmented. Strange, why are they javelins and light spear? I swear these were swordsmen a moment ago. Where did their sword capability go? Right. Let's see. Right, give me a moment while I think about this. Right, so the basic situation is here is he's advanced forward more aggressively than I was expecting, and it's caught me a little bit off guard. But his line is still smaller than mine, so I'll move my troops into the forest here because that's a good flanking position. But I think the real solution right now is just to fall back. Just don't get ensnared by the fighting. Oh, that would block us off a little bit. Yeah, alright, back off. Give us some room to retreat. Room to breathe a bit. But the angle of my troops has kind of messed me up a little bit here. This unit's not too bad, it'll still be able to fall back. These units do have a bit of a problem. However, they are my steady troops, so they'll be able to hold out quite okay against those raw legionaries. And if he tries to overextend, he'll get drawn into this mess. So I think I'm okay on that front. And it's kind of a similar... Do I want to draw the whole line back? Probably, except for that unit on the rough ground. Yikes. Because of the armoured cavalry. They are technically within range. They aren't. Alright lads, just keep falling back. Keep pulling back. Let's see. Right, and there's no point engaging in this if we don't have to. I was hoping to score a disruption there. Okay, pull back to the sides. SnuggleBunny has done a pretty good job of closing down my flanking options here. Yeah, just pull out. We're not going to be able to compete with them here in the forest. I'll get another shot in here. Alright. Yeah, send these cavalry right. I'm going to try and draw them out into this open area. So these elephants now have to turn. Whichever way they go, they're likely to expose themselves to my veteran African spearmen if they come forward too aggressively. So I think this was the right thing to do. I did not want to get closed. I did not want to let them close before I was ready. Alright, next turn. Whoa, didn't even see them. Very lucky there. Ouch. Okay, that's problematic. If he can swing around, he can potentially get a flank attack in. Oh. Curses, I didn't think they could move that far. Well, that pullback does seem to have outfoxed him a little bit. Because this line is now very, very thin and overextended. But my skirmishers are taking a beating. Nothing they can really do except turn around, and they'll probably be forced off the map next turn. Although, well, yeah, they're not going to stand in the face of these light javelinmen, I bet. Let's get this resolved. Maybe we'll get a lucky disruption. Maybe. Right, now I have a choice to make. Do I waste time tangling with these velites, or do I lock these raw legionaries down immediately? No, it's not a done deal because I've got these 3 or 4 who can come into the forest to worry about. And I don't want to turn a flank. So it's really not a given that engaging here is a waste of time. I might want to make sure that I get rid of these velites, and that will also let me save my light javelin potentially, because it will lower the odds they're fighting against. Currently at 62% chance basically that I lose them, because they're probably not going to pass any cohesion check. I've also got this to worry about because he's bombarding my cavalry and they won't take many more punches like this. They're not within charge distance, so I can still fall back. That carries all kinds of risk. If I move like this, can I still charge? Okay, that works. Bits of luck. Oh, I was kind of hoping we get their skirmishers. Well, it might force them forward. And this really isn't an important enough job for my general. Okay, that seems to have evened the odds a little bit. Right, so just to recap, I want my veteran African spearmen to be the ones who confront these elephants. I do not want my African spearmen or my Phoenician stealthfoot coming into contact. So for the moment, problem is these guys right now they're just taking javelins and getting weakened. I'm going to take a look around the battlefield and see if I can think of what else to do. Right, time to use a trick I've used against the phalangites before. I'm going to move my infantry in. I am going to move my veteran Italian foot like this. And my Phoenician stealth foot can move up like this. Now these cavalry are here to distract those veteran stati. There is some risk because if they get chased off too far away, they won't be able to turn around and interfere. But it is a strategy that I've used in the past to great effect. Hopefully it'll work here. Kind of regretting sending these guys off in this direction because they have an eternity to walk around. So let's think about his potential moves here. So his elephants can move to here to threaten this square. But then they'd be threatened by my veteran African spearmen. The light javelinmen are a problem, because in addition to slowly weakening my veteran African spearmen, and the artillery is still a problem, I remind you, I want to engage those elephants, but he could then move his phalanx up, and there would be a chance that my veteran African spearmen would engage the phalangites instead. Now that is not a matchup I want to take. I want to avoid the pike phalanx, though none of my units are particularly well suited to that. But the reason I'm looking at the elephant is actually a very expensive weak point in his line. If I can take out those elephants, that will be a huge help. Yeah, we kind of do need to get through the forest, because there's not enough operational room here. He could move up to threaten flanks. I could then respond with this unit of African spearmen, but he would then move up his pike phalanx. Right. Well, let's surround these archers, because in the forest, even in the forest, they won't be able to avoid this. In fact, his archers have actually been cut off from the rest of his force. So let's see if I can draw the rest of his skirmishers out to play. Not that unit. I want that unit to move up to here. And let's see. Hopefully place a little bit of pressure. And if we can place enough pressure, I can maybe draw these raw legionaries out to fight. So I think I just need to be a little bit more patient and a little bit more careful. Let's keep moving the cavalry around. Okay. Let's see. Because the thing is, he's already kind of in contact on the side, but I want to extend my line a little bit this way so I can start to envelop him. Right now we're in this very awkward line, and that's not particularly helpful. Let's see. So he has 1, 2, 3. Well, I've got 1, so 2. Okay, but anything he extends out from here to engage this unit is going to start to open up a flank, so I think we're safe to start moving like this. Start extending the line. Because right now we're in this kind of awkward stack formation, and but he'll probably move up. See, if I just stand still, what will he do? Well, he'll hurt my veteran African spearmen for a start. And yet, despite all of that, I think the best thing to do is just to stand still for the moment and let this develop. Is there anything I can do to tidy things up a little bit here? I could shift this unit over to the right and drop this unit back so that they can quickly move up. Thing is, he could move to here, but then I could still block him with my noble cavalry and shift away to the rough ground. So, and that would then leave a big worrying gap in his line that I'd be able to exploit. So I think this is okay. We're doing the right thing. We're extending our formation, and let's just see what the next turn brings. Next turn. Okay, and very small adjustment, just in case he decides to move his triarii over to the side to try and get an unfavourable match against my Phoenician stealth foot, and bring the armoured cavalry up to neutralise my veteran Italian foot. I will shift. Well, that might not. Well, I can always knock them off the field with the Spanish Sitarii if they get too aggressive. Back on the field with SnuggleBunnies, and boy are my troops paying for it. And they're in the forest, well blocked. Very lucky hold. Okay. So here it comes. Very clever to place them there. Because now those legionaries aren't flat against my noble cavalry. I'm not sure if I can still block them. Yes, archers, you're very scary. Right. That's technically blocking them in, which I don't want to do. Especially not against Nosy Rat, sorry, not against SnuggleBunnies, because I know he hates that. It'd be extra cruel to do it to him. We'll get rid of the no-brainers first of all. Get rid of the situation here. Interesting that the elephant's moved like this. What's he planning? Okay, so let's see what I can do with this. They're like this. I need to keep some. I want to maintain my flank threat here, but I'm also mindful of these. Oh wow, he's actually got quite a few reinforcements here. He's got these Spanish Sitarii, Italian foot, 3 of 4i. If I'm not careful, I could get locked up quite badly here. So he's slowly eroding this flank threat away. But on the other hand, he's not got lots here protecting him. Right, I need to be careful how I maneuver here. What if I shuffle like this? I need to think about what's going to happen over the next couple of turns. I'm planning, obviously, to overextend my line and flank him here. So let's see, worst that can happen. Yeah, he's going to have to leave a gap here somewhere. He can't engage diagonally. He can move up, but then I'll just get ready. So that's what we're going to do. And as for here, well, those legionaries won't be able to move on the diagonal. So that's that line set up now. And we'll flank, we're going to press through this gap here or this gap here, depending on where those cavalry end up going. What I need to decide now is how I'm going to deal with this, because this wave of infantry represents quite a large threat, and also I'm mindful of these raw legionaries. So they can't really move here, otherwise they'll get locked up by the African spearmen. Don't know if you forgot about these or what happened. I'm anxious to start moving here. Let's see. Well, we'll continue to move around the sides. I know I want to do that much. Once again, take a broad path around. We need to leave plenty of room here. Just get right around, be patient. If they move out, that's fine. It's all about, because whatever happens, he's going to leave a gap somewhere, although... yeah, that's fine, because we'll be able to turn in here and threaten the flank. This is tying him down. We're just slowly wrapping this force and wrapping around this force, tying them down. It's a shame about my unit of light javelin horse, but I could tell already that this wasn't going to be a good day for the skirmishers. The thing is, I don't know what's going to happen when I try and charge here. As mentioned before, I'm not going to try to get the... what I do want to do is try and get my horse around the sides of the slingers. Okay, let's see what happens. They didn't even go after them. But at least I forced them out into the open now. So we'll be able to get a strong charge against those archers next turn. My main line here. Do I move up here and risk invoking the wrath of the... because I've got to avoid that pike phalanx. We're not ready yet, but I hate standing under fire from these light javelin. I absolutely loathe it. I think I'll move out here. What can those elves... because they can move on the diagonal, I can move across here. Oh, I see what he's going to do. See those elephants? I would bet my life on them going after the Spanish triarii, because if he advances suddenly now, he could have the elephants on their way to attacking these impact foot. Because the phalanx would come out and challenge my main line, the elephant would move out, and there wouldn't be much I could do about that maneuver. But I could still counter that, so it's fine. I could still lock everything up. I'd still be able to get my veteran African spearmen into those elephants. That would mean my Spanish triarii would unfortunately have to engage the pike phalanx. I think, and I hope this isn't a mistake, because I am closing off this unit of African spearmen, that I will move my Phoenician style foot up a little bit to engage here. But that still leaves a little bit of flexibility, because I can move here in an emergency. And my African spearmen can still do this. Okay. So what I'm trying to... I know it's a bit more slow paced, but what I'm trying to do is show the thought processes behind my actions a little bit more. These guys right now are in danger, so well, where can they go safely? That's the only thing. Can I move them here and then move them somewhere else? Not really. Can we turn around here? These guys have charged. Okay, not a lot I can do for these guys. And they sure don't want to stay around here. It's fine if they get charged away and get caught by the cavalry, or maybe it'll drag their cavalry out too. He can charge after these light horse all he likes. I don't really care. And here, because we still got this right. Okay, what am I going to do here? So these guys are definitely going to be locked up here now. This unit here, promise that unit of triarii will still be able to deal with my Phoenician style foot, unless turn this unit to face this way. Oh, blast. Not what I want. I was kind of hoping they'd stand their ground. Okay then. Oh, that's flaming awkward. I didn't want that at all. Now they can move to block me, which is no doubt his objective the entire time. Do you guys have a general we can borrow? Take them, because that is going to be a nasty clash. Now I really don't have anything to block them. Alright, so this hole here is going to have to be our solution, because I'm not going to be able to get a flank with these Phoenician style foot, because I've got all of this closing down to lock them into combat. But we've still got this flank attack making progress around the back. And let's see. Now keep it all together for now. We don't want to go running off into trouble. And I've still got this is the good thing. My light horse are keeping his skirmishers busy, so he can't really interfere with this too much. But so that's definitely progressing. I think I will turn them in because they're going to start carving around soon. Next turn. So, SnuggleBunnies is saying in the chat that he's not sure how to react when he's outnumbered by so many units. It's a tricky one because I do think that having more units than your opponent myself does give you an advantage. There are a few formations that you can use. Well done. To alleviate the worst of it. I tend to deploy in a sort of wedge formation. I mean, he's doing pretty well. The thing is, this is kind of exposed his flank now. So what I mean by wedge is you refuse both flanks, and you deploy in a very strong center position, and you just go for the breakthrough in the center. And while you try and refuse the troops around this side. The thing is, it's not passive, so you can't just hang back and let the opponent run around your sides. You have to get into this kind of refused formation, and then you have to charge forward, and you have to try and break the enemy center before they can get around your flanks. And that's one way I found in the past of dealing with larger armies. And here's the thing, I know there's something out there. I knew it. Don't get... I mean, I missed the chance to attack those stingers, but don't get caught off guard by things like this. It's very easy to do. Of course, those triarii are also a major threat to my Phoenician stealth foot. This thing, if you can get localized advantages, because your army is better quality, so if you can manage to isolate part of the larger army without it... can I take that back? Last. If you can manage to isolate part of the larger army, that will also help. I can't really do anything because these Royal Legionaries are in the way. And unfortunately, this is the group without the general. And he's moved right up. Okay, let's put the general over here for now, so I'm on even ground with these veteran Stati Principes. So what I want to do here is just get ready because we're going to go around the flanks. He's managed to delay me and he's cost quite a lot of casualties from my veteran African spheres. Okay, let's see what I can do here. So this is not... Right, it is definitely time to advance against this line. Because I have a clear chance of getting a flank attack in now. This isn't particularly healthy. Another thing, if you're outnumbered, try to use your skirmishers to get in the way. SnuggleBunnies has done that quite effectively here against me, I think. Let's see. I'll give my general over. I'll give my general over to the Spanish triarii unit because I think they're the most threat. Move up here, so I'm going to start my attack on this side here. And whether or not to move up with my cavalry as well. Pin those armoured cavalry in. They are not going to last too much longer, but he did manage to get rid of my light horse. So he got something from the engagement. And remember what I was saying about being caught out by troops that are hidden? Well, that's exactly what happened to me there. I wonder if I can push them off the field. It's a bit of a long shot, but they are now. Oh, now they're on the rough ground, so that was probably not the best approach by me there. Let's get around. The only thing is I'm exposing myself to a lot of skirmisher trouble. You know what, I'm going to take that. Oh, they decided to run away. Because I figured that even if... oh no, we're going to get hit by skirmishers. I figured that even if we engaged them, and then they were exposed to the flank, the breakthrough could actually cause them more trouble later on. And that was worth doing. Now there's a hole in his line if I can exploit it here. I think it's time to finally move up and confront these Royal Legionaries because there's no longer the same level of danger from his phalanx. These light javelin are really, really annoying. And of course I suspect that is exactly the point. Because I don't really want to get to grips with this pike phalanx until I absolutely have to. I think I'll actually pull back from these guys to try and prevent any more exposure to them. Let's see. If I play my cards right, I can get some room over here. So just extending my line, they will have to move out diagonally to engage me. That offers up another weak point. So I'm just drawing this line out, and I think it's too late for SnuggleBunnies to respond to this effectively at this point. Of course, it's not all good news for me because this is quite... These Italian foot are potentially stuck in the woods, which means they are not really a threat to me anymore, but these Phoenician stealth foot will struggle against the triarii. And he has a chance for a breakthrough there. These raw legionaries can't engage my Phoenician stealth foot because the noble cavalry are here. Unfortunately, that means I lost the chance to block his static principes, which means my Phoenician stealth foot are about to take it in the face. Which isn't ideal. So I need to hope that my line can hold until these flank attacks go through, which I think I have good odds of doing, but it's not guaranteed. So just to clarify, I want this unit to hold this tile here to make sure that the Italian foot can't interfere with my Phoenician stealth foot over here. We're holding the Spanish triarii in check, and of course my African spearmen are moving up to confront the raw legionaries. But he could move the phalanx in. But that would probably... That is actually worthless. That would have been worth considering if I thought about the full ramifications. It's done now. We'll see where that goes. Next turn. I didn't anticipate that. I assumed he'd engage in a line. Uh-oh. Oh, he just turned the artillery. I was really hoping for more time than that. Okay. Clever. I didn't think he could possibly block that. Well, he hasn't. Right. This has happened because I've been an idiot and I've left half of my army behind. We're less disadvantaged than we could be here. Let's transfer a general over. See if we can't hold on. Okay. It's worth mentioning at this point that SnuggleBunnies is the only person standing between me and victory in the tournament at this stage. I want to know what happens. Pretty much along the line. Well, let's see. Well, yeah, these guys are all locked down. The blocking of that flank attack could be critical. Right, I officially need to get on with this. I think I can start to threaten here. Because he's going to expose himself somewhere. Well, there's nothing I can do about this. I can get into a position where I can start to flank down these raw legionaries. And I think the presence of my lights behind them might inflict a cohesion penalty. I can't remember. Okay, fragmentation. At least they've held on a little bit longer. Don't lose. For the love of God, don't lose. Move up and block and across the flank. So it's now a race to time. tidy up his line before this can decide what happens to my veteran Italian foot. And of course, a freak accident could happen anywhere. Keep them facing for now. At least gives them a bit of a dilemma to deal with. Over here. I'll take his cavalry. Got a general, they're fighting hard. Great. This is exactly the situation I was trying to avoid. And what a mismatch this is. A flaming elephant challenging Spanish triarii. They're going to get smashed apart. I've done exactly what I shouldn't have done by allowing this to happen. Really made a pig's breakfast of it. Because he can now turn, and he's protecting this flank. My numbers advantage now means nothing. Such a stupid way to conduct myself. Put them here. Maybe we can still eventually lead to an outflank. Probably along this edge, but it's not good. There is one thing I can do. Get my troops right around the back there. Pinned by those light cavalry. Of course. Of course, and now they're going to go flying straight into the back of my noble cavalry. All I had to do was not charge, I just had to hold them in place, and what do? I order a charge. Stupid, stupid, stupid thing to do. Maybe it'll still work out. I don't deserve to win after that. All of these wasted resources. Okay, let's just try and move on. We've got this situation here. Try and push them off the field. Next turn. Okay, wow. I was in an unusually bleak mood yesterday. Ah, that was unlucky. My medium foot would be doing a particularly bad job of holding the ground against these impact foots. Usually they're a little bit better than that. Jesus! I'm not sure what the doom and gloom is about from SnuggleBunny in the chat. He seems to be doing extremely well just now. Because these flank attacks aren't everything. Look at my line, it's turning into Swiss cheese. But yeah, I should not play when I'm tired. I kind of develop a Hyde-like personality when I'm tired. I become a lot more pessimistic and a little bit irrational sometimes. There was no real reason for me to react like the end of the world was upon us. Those triarii are superior troops. The troop quality does matter. Those guys could hold up for a while, and if they hold up for much longer, then I'm going to start being in trouble. Let's see. What would really help is if I could get a disruption on these. Jesus Christ. Come on, lads. Get something right. Okay, how am I going to open this up? Well, we're winning here, so I no longer urgently need a flank attack. This is one of the few areas I do have a quality advantage over them. What would be nice if I get a flank against these Hastati Principes, but I don't think that's going to happen. Look at these impact. This is where impact foot are the panacea to dealing with an opponent who has brought swarms of mediums, because the mediums just bounce off. They can't get a foothold. Even my veteran African spearmen are struggling with this. Okay, we're into contact. And that is genuinely bad news for SnuggleBunnies. We'll see. Can I make lightning strike twice? No! Oh, you're really letting me down on impact today, lads. You've really, really messed up my position here. Or do I just throw them into combat and hope that they don't fracture again to get the flank on them? Okay, I'm going to go for this approach here. Please tell me you didn't lose again. Alright. Not enough. It's not enough. Because they're going to get fragmented. They'll auto break next. He stopped it. He stopped my looping around the back. Just couldn't get the impact advantages I needed. We're going to lose this. I'm going to try and get the advantage on impact. Looks like it might have worked. No. Okay, we're winning here. I'm going to move to here, because if he engages with the pike phalanx, then he will expose a flank, and it'll protect my veteran African spearmen in the meantime. I need time. Oh, this is turning out to be one heck of a championship match. God, all of this is bad. Well, it's not all bad, but it's very tense, and I'm not feeling particularly good about the situation right now. Next turn. So we're in an interesting situation where both commanders feel that they are at a disadvantage. We'll see if that's true. My cavalry are about to be auto-broken. Moved very quickly, and that was not a good direction for his cavalry to run in. For me, that is. That elephant will break off pursuit very quickly, and look at that. So in the space of a few... that was very lucky for me, because that was only a 33% chance. That, on the other hand, was extremely unlucky. I should have won there. Another unlucky... Okay, I'm going to be honest, even if I don't lose here, SnuggleBunnies... that's appalling luck. Another auto break. And a disruption. This has been an incredibly quick battle. They're for it next, and so are they. Okay, he's decided to form square. Don't know why they decide to stay in melee like that. This is not a place you want to be, lads. Okay, we need a quick breakthrough here. And we get one. There's nothing going on here, so what's going to happen here? Okay, here I think I've got a few opportunities. We'll nail these lads in the flank. Could I be any more Scottish right now? These guys turn in here because they can come out of phalanx and attack us. I need to know what's going to happen here. Oh, That's not what I wanted to see happen, actually. I'm going to start to stalk towards the enemy flank. Can't get those pike phalanxes anyway because they're in square formation. Right, okay. These guys break. And that is honestly a big boost for my rout percentage. But these guys are going to go a second later and they may panic my triarii. And that brings us back to even footing again, and it's now his turn. I think I can block the elephants, but these troops are fighting at a disadvantage, and so are these troops. But my veteran African spearmen are winning the battle against the static. It's actually really close. Let's flip over to the other flank. Well, we're about to get hit here, that's for sure. Let's get round the flank. And I will... See, the cavalry will just get out the way, and then it will be a question for my veteran Italian foot. Charge. I need this to heart. They've fragmented. Can we break them? No, we can't. I should have dropped them back and they could have held the square. As it is, I only have one more string to my bow. They've stuck in melee. These noble cavalry will not suffer from a flank attack as badly because they won't automatically lose cohesion. So that has worked in our favour. Now I need to know what happens here because we're losing here. We stand our ground again. I'm not going to start a melee here, as these Phoenician style foot will do better if they force to defend should this unit give. What about the lights battle? My light cavalry are arriving, but they're going to be very late to influence anything. These light cavalry just follow me everywhere. They won't let me get a strike in. Let's see. Going into the woods here and then turning could possibly work, but only if I can block his spears, his javelins rather. It doesn't look like that's going to work very well. Let's see. This is a close run thing. So this unit's eventually going to open up a flank on those raw legionaries, but there's no point in taking the chance just now. I need to hold my ground. Next turn. For heaven's sake. That wasn't a for heaven's sake. I'm so unlucky. That was a for heaven's sake. Those 3 or 4 I should not have lost. Things do seem to be going my way now. I can't quite believe I'm saying that, but things do seem to be going my way. Oh, until that happened. Alright. Right, get those veteran African spearmen out of the way of harm. They're pursuing. Well, these guys are very, very unlikely to hold their ground, so even with a general, I don't think it's worth trying to keep them around. They're going to have to break. That's going to set up a morale bomb amidst 3 different units. We're lucky we survived. How's this going? Held our ground. Look at the wider battlefield, make sure nothing surprising is coming. Okay. I think because this unit's, if it comes to... Oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay, well this is the important one, so I'm going to engage here. Good. I need to get this flank attack in. And then I'll flank the pike phalanx if it comes out to fight. Just worming my way around here. There's nothing to be done for this fight, so let's just resolve it. Pushed back. Right, so again, there's no point in rushing to that one. We'll engage next turn anyway, and he can't block the flank. Well, no, he can, because he can fall back, so I do actually need to engage here if I want to see that happen. Engage here, try and crack them. Kind of wish I'd moved this unit first now, because this is kind of going to slow me down a little bit. The thing is, I think these cavalry will turn and then break off, which I want to happen, so I'm going to have to move these units up here first. They unfortunately don't have a general, because I remember this is from a different command group. Well, they'll turn next turn and disengage. Just minimises the amount of beating that they're going to take in the meantime. So that's the situation. Things have calmed down a lot for me now. It was looking really scary. Let's see. Ah, clever. Well, that might cause a complication later on. Because of the javelin men, I can't charge. Very problematic for me at the moment, because those armoured cavalry are blocking my flank attack to the Estati Principes. And that's not ideal, to be honest. This is going to happen anyway, so what's the result of come? That's a fragmentate. Oh, it's a disruption, but what a disruption. So that unit's probably going to fail anyway. I'm not going to joke about wanting to do something stupid. What I'm thinking of is I could try to use these velites to shoot me through to the other side. Well, no, it's probably going to... Is that worth doing anyway? Okay, I think we send the cavalry to block the elephants. But they're within charge range. Caught in a trap. Well, given how well the left and centre are going, I can't complain if things are going to hell on the right. So what am I going to do? Well, there doesn't unfortunately seem to be a whole lot I can do. I moved the only thing... Again, what's the point? I'm better off trying to avoid the elephants for now. Guess I'll move my cavalry like... But then the infantry cave, and then the elephants will probably just come charging through. It depends which way they route. If they route this way, we're fine. But if they route this way, which they probably will based on facing, then if I was thinking of trying to maneuver my troops here, but the result from that would probably be that the elephants would just break these units and run straight into the backs of my waiting Spanish Sutari. Though that might still give me the flank and the static if I'm willing to just sacrifice all of this. Because my Spanish Sutari are probably going to lose to the elephants anyway. And if I just accept that all this is going to melt down, then I can get to his Hastati Principes. The alternative, as I said, is just to go for the break here. But if we end up standing here, and there's a good chance that will happen, then again, elephant charge from the flank, or cavalry charge if I decide to block the elephants. We're going to get shot at by these skirmishers anyway. Again, light troops causing harassment. I'm going to go for the insane option. They didn't break. And I now have no way of stopping that flank attack. I was hoping that if that happened they'd run a little bit farther, or maybe that we would pursue these velites. Hate these guys so much. We're just short of the charge there. And they're blocking this path. Okay, well, I gambled, it didn't pay off. We will... I guess move to block the elephants now, because he can no longer... stop this. Because he can either take these units or take these units, he can't do both. Although it's a question of priorities as well, because think about where those cavalry could end up running off to. There is a situation where they could end up breaking through to here. I am going to rescue this unit if my troops can hold out just one more turn. I don't want to interfere with that. Kind of setting up an attack in his armoured cavalry, but the slingers are a problem. Because they're going to lose to a flank attack next turn. You'll probably charge here. No, the right wing's just gone. I could try and pull back and reserve my triarii for a little bit longer. Then they wouldn't be able to... well, maybe. No, there's nothing I can do. I will leave my Spanish triarii to make a last stand here. And this flank is just going to have to come down. Resolve this. I think that's a good metaphor for the way the entire skirmish has gone so far. Next turn. Ah, that was a quick rally. Though to be fair, it was unlucky that they gave so quickly. They're due. That's a bad luck. Well, we all knew that was going to happen. And they all fall down. Almost. I think I'm probably just going to start to pull my skirmishers out of things. He planned that out well. Doesn't even see those. Oh, of course they were driven. They were supposed to be driven off. Well, these troops will at least keep him occupied for a little bit longer on that flank. Enemy Royal Legionaries disrupted. That's what we want to hear. And they've held. That was critical. There's something going off on the left, which the camera is unhelpfully not telling us. It's us fighting their noble cavalry. They have not turned to face yet? No. That was a bit spiteful. Right. Another incredibly fast break. To be fair, those were just regular Astati Principes, but still. No. I was thinking they could have given, and that would have been game, set, match right there. Right. I have to flank this unit here. These cavalry will unfortunately drop back now. Oh, of course I could have attacked here. I can't. Okay, so that slightly delays my flanking impact. Just in case some things go wrong, I am going to not engage immediately. Just give the enemy, just give my men a little bit more time before these guys impact, so that my veteran Italian foot have a little bit more time to get into position. Because they won't be able to get to position immediately. They could also just ignore this unit and go straight after the triarii. Speaking of which, they're holding out for now, because these veteran Italian foot can hold these Astati Principes. In fact, they'll win that battle, but they, my Phoenician style foot will eventually lose to those triarii. Okay. These units are probably going to be stuck policing this situation. And there's really nothing we can do for the guys on the right. They are pinned in and losing just for good measure. This might work, but I don't think so. No, it's not going to get us anywhere. I'm caught between a rock and a hard place here. Move back and angle like this. And those elephants are going to come charging through any second now. This has not been a good day for my generals. It's 2 in 2 rounds. Right. They are facing this way. Okay, this is bait. I'm trying to see if I can get him to come out of formation and hit me in the back. I don't think he's going to do it, but if he does, then obviously that will give me the flank attack. But I doubt SnuggleBunnies is going to go in for that. That's fine facing. I suppose I could send these guys off the triarii. I'd rather get the guaranteed. I'd rather guarantee that I can get these units though, so I'd rather keep my cavalry on hand. Alright, next turn. We're coming to the end of this. Very brave stand by my light horse there. A lot of bravery in my right flank, actually. He's just getting them out of there, that makes sense. Okay. Right. He's chasing them down. They won't be able to get away. Well, they might be able to get away for one more turn. But after that it's over. Okay, and as expected he didn't. He didn't take the bait. How is this going? Yeah, alright. I thought they might possibly hold out for long enough for me to rescue them, but that was always going to be a little bit of a tall order. Yeah. I'll be taking that general, thank you. Go after the artillery. And this lot can turn back. We'll keep the veteran African spearmen threatening this unit, and I will send the... See how things are going here. Okay. I'll send this yet another unit down to try... Well, no, let's see. Right, it's because it's happening in the forest. Yeah, we are eventually going to get that. So considering all the troops we have now, it probably doesn't make much. I kind of wish I'd turned these units around. Well, I suppose, yeah, if these guys hold us in place. Or do I could possibly try and just overwhelm them. No, not with that kind of quality. Those pikes will last till the end of the battle now. So I will extract my second unit of veteran African spears, and they can go and do something else. I'll leave this in the capable hands of my African spearmen and my Phoenician stalfoot. Right, and so as long as we don't have a disaster here. Okay, for once the veterans didn't let me down. They have been singularly unreliable this turn. I'm going to get the triarii next turn anyway, even if there's a pushback. The only thing that would stop that is if there was an auto break, and I don't think this Phoenician stalfoot can possibly lose enough in a round for that to happen now. Okay. And with that, I think the battle will be won. just in case, because there's a good distance now, I think I will push these armoured cavalry back and I'll try and go after his triarii. But I think I'll be blocked from doing that. And if we could just get away from the light foot. Ah, here we go, we've finally broken out. And okay, just resolve all of this. That might be the last unit we lose today. Okay, and next turn. Well, this may have been a mistake because this Phoenician stealth foot is now in trouble. But I think the battle will end before I face consequences for it. Right. He's not that far away. Another 21% and I'll be at 60. And he's managed to block my cavalry again. I think once the light foots are on you like that, there really isn't a great way for the light javelin horse to circle around unless they can run right away and then make a circle around. It really is that hard to get away from them, from the light foot. I suspect this will be the killing blow. Not this turn, but next one. So they'll turn in like that. Yep. And it's all going to fall in now. Too late for my light javelin though. I suppose they may as well turn to face. Do I want to do this for the impact? It's just as bad, really. Well, we lost the impact, but our superior status allowed us to survive. That's unfortunate facing. Weird, we lost the battle and our combat chance improves. Interesting. Well, unless they suffer a sudden drop, we should be fine. And I will go after his artillery. And just in case things do go wrong here, I do have another unit following up. Okay, so I'm in a comfortable position now, but it looked scary before. Right. Final turn. Right. Okay, so above average. Right, so they've gone. But cavalry and a disrupted unit, they will probably hold, actually. Okay. Yeah, they didn't double drop. SnuggleBunnies would have been better off concentrating his fire there, but it's not really like it matters at this stage. Okay. Oh, looks like this could go on for a while. No, I think that's fragmented them. Yep. Yeah, regardless of what I do, he's going to be able to block me there. So these cavalry, can they hold out? Right. And yeah, just bring them in for backup. Next turn. Wait. So I would send these to help. They'll turn to face here. Next turn. And that's it. I won. Okay. So that's me won the tournament. Okay, let's get into the battle review first before I talk about that. So this battle went mostly how I intended it to go. I did manage to envelop SnuggleBunnies over on the left. I managed to catch him in the center, and I also managed to catch him on the right. So I sort of overreacted to the situation that developed here. What scared me so much about this was SnuggleBunnies units were really, really good, and they were also, they were all impacts and pike units, which had a good chance of repelling my initial attacks. And they were also he'd matched his units up to me really, really well. So it was, for instance, elephants. Those elephants got 2 units of Spanish triarii by the time that was over. He picked up my cavalry, they only managed to cause a disruption. I got really lucky here when the pike unit gave way, despite only being disrupted, because there was only a 36 chance there that we'd even lose the melee. So that there was definitely some luck. I think overall my position was stronger, but there was what I was afraid of was that my entire line would just melt down in a couple of turns, and I wouldn't get a chance to actually outflank him. But I managed to. This situation here was much stronger than I gave it credit for, and obviously I won from there. Just before these guys were about to get stomped. So what could I have? So what could SnuggleBunnies have done differently? One thing that happened is he sort of allowed all of this he kind of let me split his army up into 2 or 3 different sections. And when I have a large army like this, that means that it's kind of lowering the surface area which I have to move around before I can start to strike at the weakened sections. So I think he could possibly have tried to hold his army together a little bit more. In a more solid line, because he did a fine job obstructing my. I got 1 unit of cavalry around briefly, but other than that, he did a fine job of obstructing me on the flanks here. On this flank, not so much this flank, but this flank certainly he was fine. It wasn't. I didn't win this battle by getting all the way around his back. I won by finding a few holes in the line which opened up as he moved units out to challenge the units that were coming around the side, and then moving up to break them as they appeared. Now, admittedly, obviously that's the point of what I was trying to do. That's why I swing out wide. It's to make it clear that I'm going to make a flanking attack. So what could possibly happen to this? Again, if you refuse both flanks and then just come forward in that situation, then by the time your opponent can get around the flanks, you've broken the center, and it's that kind of game you're playing there, I think. So that's possibly an approach SnuggleBunnies could have taken to the battle. As for what I should have done, I think I was maybe a little bit too blasé with how I moved troops up here. I had troops back. To be fair, that was part of how SnuggleBunnies positioned his line. He had elephants and pikes threatening these units, and I was really, really wary of. I mean, I ended up getting some fairly lousy matchups over here anyway, but I was really wary of moving up and encountering very bad matchups, like for instance Phoenician style foot against pike or elephant against Spanish triarii or Phoenician style foot. I was desperate to avoid that, and that may have made me a little bit too hesitant to move up and try and lock down these units. If I hadn't been so hesitant, I might have knocked off his flank here as well. Or on the other hand, maybe I wouldn't have got such good flanking opportunities over here. I'm not sure if I handled my light javelin horse badly or if SnuggleBunnies just did a really good job of locking down all of my light horse rather, and making sure I couldn't use it properly. Because I couldn't get even one of those units free to attack at his armoured cavalry or to start harassing the back of his line. Couldn't even get them into the artillery. In the end, it was a medium foot unit which had to go after it. It did, of course, do the job of distracting all of his skirmishers and making sure he couldn't direct them against his line. But it would have been nice to use that superior mobility to get just a little bit more impact into his army. And I think he made a bit of a mess of me generally in the skirmish. But we held our own. I think I only lost 2 units of skirmishers over the course of the battle. No, we lost 3 because I think there was a unit of javelinmen who went early in the battle, wasn't there? Okay. So the last thing I just want to say is, I mean, I've just won the tournament, and I went into this tournament worried that I would get my face handed to me, basically, because I haven't played Field of Glory 2 competitively for a year and a quarter. 2019 was a really rough year for me, and I just dropped out of those kinds of competitive pursuits. But it looks like I've managed to do it. I think part of that is the army choice, because Stockwell Pete, the tournament organizer, was kind enough to give me first pick of armies going into the tournament, and yeah, I suspect that's this excellent Hannibal and Africa list is one of the main reasons that I managed to pull it off, and I certainly doubt I would have beaten some of my opponents if I hadn't had a list like this at my disposal. And so yeah, but I mean, I'm thrilled obviously to have won the tournament this season, and I will definitely be back for the next one. And in terms of the future of these videos, I will be going for the Slytherin 20th anniversary tournament to celebrate. I think it's 20 years of Field of Glory. I think it's of the board game's existence as well, because I think the digital games are quite recent, but I think it's 20 years since Field of Glory, the board game, came out, and or maybe possibly the company. I think it's of the game, and I'll be taking part in the tournament to celebrate that. And I'm trying to think of where to go next. I'll definitely participate in season 10 once it rolls. Sorry, season 9 rather, once it rolls around. Until then, what I'm thinking of doing is I will be continuing my historical battle series. What I might do is challenge the opponents I faced in this tournament again, and give them a chance to use the Hannibal and Africa list that I've been using against their armies, and of course I have to use the armies that I managed to either beat or draw with in the tournament. So I think that might be quite interesting, and it'll obviously answer the question, was it the list or was it the man? So yeah, I'd like to give that a go if at all possible, and I think it would be interesting because it will force me to adopt radically different strategies to the one I relied on in this tournament, which is obviously a weak centre approach strategy. So you'll get to see other formations in my toolbox like the wedge, and you'll of course you've got classics like the weighted flank. Okay, and I'll probably start training with the list that some of the lists which I may use in the next tournament, and I may also enter some new sections. Anyway, folks, this has been Napoleon Complex, or Ludendorf as I go by on the Slytherin forums. Thank you for watching this through. It's been an incredibly stressful match, and but a very fun one. And I hope to see you in the next one. Please consider leaving a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And here's the end screen, which I remembered for once. So these are quite steep casualty figures, 55% and 20% even for the victorious Carthaginians, and given how high the score went, it was a 41% victory. That's to be expected. Okay, thank you everyone, and farewell. Wait! Sorry, one last addendum. I wanted to say that SnuggleBunnies has been recording this tournament as well, and he will also have released a video of this. So if you want to go to his channel and have a look at this from his perspective, then I highly recommend that you do that. I will leave a link to his video in the description, and I highly encourage you to check it out and to check out his channel as well. Okay folks, on that note, I will see you later. Farewell.